Hello, and welcome back into the QB Huddle Podcast. The podcast can now be found anywhere that you get your podcast, so be sure to subscribe and lock in for all of the content. I'm Tim Smith, and I'm joined by my podcast partners, Brandon Newey and Lauren Morales, a.k.a. Edition, now a full-time piece of the QB Huddle. So super excited to have you, Lauren. What a great week.
Let's go.
You joined us at the right time. And let's get right into it. We're going to the college football semifinals first. Notre Dame versus Penn State was the first. Personally, I thought Penn State was going to handle Notre Dame without issue. But I'll tell you, I thought quarterback play was really terrible on both sides. But Notre Dame as a team showed a lot of fight, a lot of grit. Really, I found myself having a lot of respect for Notre Dame throughout that game. And so for the first time ever, I can say I don't feel bad during the national championship game. I feel like they earned it. Lauren, what say you?
Man, first, thanks for having me, both of y'all, man. We talk so much off camera about sports and everything, so to be able to put it on a platform, it's freaking great. And yeah, man, just to kick it off, Notre Dame, Penn State, we talked about it. We talked about it last week. We all kind of had our takes left and right. We spent some time on these college quarterbacks, which is a little different, and it was kind of what we call it, man. It was a defensive game up until the fourth quarter. I think 31 of the 50 points were scored in the fourth, so it kind of felt as whoever made a mistake late in the game, that was going to be that kind of hurt their team the most. And sure enough, that late pick to seal the deal. That's the only time I want to spend on, really, because it was a defensive battle, like we said. But man, that pick is tough. And then I heard something saying he was trying to throw it to the ground. Like, don't make excuses. That's an instinctive play that all of us here have probably made before. Turn your hips, ready to load it, and that's just a further throw with more strength. And it didn't get there, and receiver should have came flat. But who knows, man? Like, play's over. It was a great game. I'm glad I tuned in. I'm glad I tuned in, and more importantly, I'm glad I stuck around to watch it. Sometimes I'll bail on these games, so it was great.
Nice.
Well, I definitely bailed on this game a little bit until the fourth quarter. It got interesting. Right? Penn State didn't have a receiver catch the ball. Right. Not one reception.
Not good.
But what are we doing? That's a 5-star? That's a 5-star, right? Supposed to come out the draft? Yeah, that wasn't it, brother. You got to come back for sure. Good thing is for Penn State is they got 2 of their running backs coming back for another year. I thought Riley Leonard played okay. He got dinged up a little bit. I thought it was a concussion at first, but willed his way back. But going into the national championship, man, you just can't turn the ball over versus these guys. You just can't.
Not at all.
Too athletic. They'll control the clock as much as possible. Or they'll just go sky and just tee it high and let it fly. So kudos to Notre Dame winning. I've never seen Notre Dame win a national championship. It would be cool to see. I'm not going to lie. But Ohio State, man, the stage is set, gentlemen. The stage is set. But before that, let's talk about Texas. Texas and Ohio State. Tim, we appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for allowing me to go out there, man, and experience that. Wow. I have a video. I wish B could pull that up as I'm talking through this. It's unfortunate, but Tim, as a Texas fan, I know that broke your heart. But just elaborate on that game and your experience. Had a great one.
As I reflect on it a few days later, man, the experience was incredible. It was probably the most electric atmosphere I've ever been in for a football game, and I've been to a lot of football games, a lot of NFL playoff games and great Cowboy games. But this atmosphere was so loud and just electric. You could feel it. To see that play, right, 33 from Ohio State, I'm just going to call him 33 because I'm not even going to say his name. He sack, fumble, picks up the ball, running down. It was like a movie. It was insane, and just to be a part of that. Now, of course, he crossed the 50, I looked at you and said, "Time to go," and we started walking upstairs. I didn't need to see him cross the end zone.
Cheers to that, brother.
We knew the game was over, but man, it was a great battle. From a football standpoint, I thought Sark did a complete terrible job. They ran about
terrible job.
Complete terrible. They ran about 7 plays in that game, maybe a few variations off those.
They've done that
plays.
All year, though.
But it wasn't. No. There was more.
All year they've done 7. Plays,
maybe I had noticed it because they were winning, right? I noticed it in person because you could see everything. You can see what the receivers are doing, and you could see, like, wait a minute, I just saw that play, it didn't work. Why is it 1st and goal and we're trying to run, or 2nd and goal and we're trying to run a toss play to the short side? We hadn't been able to get outside all night if you're the Texas Longhorns. And so why are you trying to go against tendencies? It doesn't make sense. If it's me, I'm putting Arch in, I'm spreading the ball out, and I'm letting him run for a half a yard for a touchdown. He's going to get you the touchdown, right? It was
Is he?
Poor play calling. He got a first down for you early in the game. It was poor play calling. It was poor execution. I noticed Ewers doesn't move in the pocket at all. He
doesn't have a
takes
good
the ball,
feel.
he just stands straight up, looks downfield, stands there while the rush is coming in. Listen, watching them play live, watching Ewers in particular play live was very underwhelming. And they didn't deserve to win that game. Simple. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Lauren, I know you watched the game.
Chime in. Yeah, I mean, look, we were talking about this last week. It was not a blowout. Okay?
Not a blowout.
There was blowouts called left and right. Texas, in my opinion,
it felt like one.
In my opinion, Texas should have won this game. They should have won this game. It's all play calling, if you ask me. The kids on the field, they deserve to win. The Longhorns deserve to win. I don't care what you run at the end of the game. I really don't. But somewhere near the bottom of ideas is a damn toss.
Right.
Okay? Somewhere at the bottom of your ideas
what are
is
we
a toss.
Playing, Madden?
Let's leave it there, right? And I'm with you, Tim. You put Arch in, and you run a zone read with a pass option. I think there's a short term for that, isn't there? If not, RPO. Sneak it in. Anything but a toss.
Hell, put in a big tight end, number 85, and give him the ball at the half-yard line. Let him fall forward.
I just don't understand it. The first play call, you ran it. I'm good with it, and the 7 to 8 plays, I think Sark's playbook's probably 12 to 15 if you're looking at it, but it's all variations. He doesn't run a lot of hard stuff. The play call might be run left because it's zone anyway, so you just run it left. However, he tells Ewers to get him the ball. And man, just on the Ewers real quick, a good send-off. He's a great leader. I think it was probably underwhelming to watch him, but do you feel like he is probably an NFL-ready quarterback, someone that's ready to go to the NFL like he's done with college? Will he be all right in the NFL? He doesn't show that dynamic, that mobility side. So
me personally, I think he could use another year. I was cool with him transferring to a school like, North Carolina, where he's getting a Bill Belichick, sort of, hey, this is the end. This is what it's going to be like at the league. This is how we watch film. This is how we prepare. This is how we run a real offense. This is how we make corrections at the line of scrimmage and set our protections and get our hot. Based on what I saw in the offense that he's been running the last 2 years, no, he's not ready. He's a backup at best. I wouldn't pick him before the 3rd round if I'm a team, unless I know that I got a veteran quarterback that's going to be gone in 2 to 3 years and I need someone to learn, then I would take him, maybe mid to late round. But honestly, I don't know if any of the quarterbacks in this class, me personally, are first rounders. I don't know if any of them are. Brandon, what did you think? I mean, you were sitting right next to me watching this kid play.
Like you said, it was underwhelming. I mean, he just doesn't move very well in the pocket. I mean, watching him at South Lake, he's got a big arm, but he lacks the ability to really throw it deep and put his guys into space. He's what I call muddy feet, man. And being a 6'2" guy, he's got to be a little bit more nimble. Arch is a 6'4" guy, but he moves a little bit well, right? And so you got to. In this generation, man, I've been telling you, Tim, this pocket quarterback is becoming an endangered species. It really is. If you can't get out of the pocket and move just a little, it's not going to work. Me personally, it's not a shot at the guy. I think he's a second day guy, maybe. Yeah, day 2 guy. I think Quinn has got to fall to the right organization. I think with the right organization, a good QB whisperer, he's got all the tools. I mean, he was a 5-star quarterback, number 1 player in the country. He was the highest rated player since Andrew Luck. So they had to see something, right? It's not like he was just trash in college. He did something, but he's got to really improve on his footwork. He's got to get put in a good offense, good system. I'm not sure. We'll probably dive into that a little bit more during the draft. But
man, as you say
it
all that, I
sucks. It
think of
sucks
the
to see
Rams.
it.
I think
Huh?
Quinn Ewers to the Rams might be the perfect fit. Sit behind Matthew Stafford. You have a quarterback whisperer as your head coach. That might be
That
a good
might be a
spot for
good
someone like
play.
Quinn Ewers
It
to go.
really might.
Yeah,
You know, Jimmy
because
Garoppolo is a backup there.
they had
That'll
their
help
guy,
him.
right?
He's selfless.
They had their guy. They drafted their guy, and I don't think he's playing football. Is he anymore?
Nah, he was too much of a partier, man. Unfortunately, he went to
Didn't he?
rehab.
I think he went. I
Didn't
think
he?
he completed.
He
Didn't he
played.
complete it?
Yeah, he completed it, but he played bad in the preseason, man. They
Yeah,
let him go.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd look at
Football's not
Quinn
on his
Ewers if
mind.
I'm the Rams. I mean, that's
It's not a
probably a
bad.
good
It's not
spot
a
for him
bad
to go.
call. Not a bad call.
But as we talk about that, before we get into Wild Card Weekend, folks, man, we have a circus going on in Dallas as always. Jerry Jones always wants to be in the news. He doesn't allow Mike McCarthy to interview with a few teams. He doesn't interview a few of the top guys that are on the market, and then after all the dust settles, he goes ahead and fires Coach McCarthy. Personally, as a Cowboys fan, the only Cowboy fan on this panel, I think it's the wrong move. He produced a 12-win season for Dak for 3 years in a row. He has produced many quarterbacks. He's worked with many quarterbacks. I think this was the best fit for Dak. Was Mike McCarthy.
Right.
Maybe did we need some better assistance and stuff? Is his time management questionable sometimes? Sure. But he's a grade A coach, and I hope Chicago Bears get him. I think that would be great for Caleb. And I really hope that happens. There's talk of him maybe going to Pittsburgh. And I heard today Aaron Rodgers may be following him there. I doubt that's in the mix. What?
Say that again.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
I saw today.
Man, we're assuming Tomlin's out. Stop it.
If Tomlin is out,
y'all better
Pittsburgh,
stop doing Tomlin like this, man.
I don't think Tomlin should be out, but I would also tell you that I've got some numbers here that support that as many people that talk about Mike Tomlin, what a great coach he is, and diss Mike McCarthy, they have the same numbers, folks. They have the same playoff appearances. Actually, Mike McCarthy has more playoff wins. They have the same Super Bowl wins. They're the same coach. So if you're going to talk about Mike Tomlin and really
Tomlin went to 2 Super Bowls, though.
That's okay.
What do you mean that's okay?
I'm going to show.
You know how hard it is to get this one?
So
18
not the
seasons.
Numbers. Not
they
the
both
numbers.
Have
See, you're going too far.
Appearances.
Let's talk about the last 8 seasons.
Listen,
let's talk about
Mike
the last
McCarthy's
8 seasons.
11-11 in the playoffs, while Mike Tomlin is 8-11. Mike McCarthy has 8 division titles, while Mike Tomlin has 7. They both have 12 playoff appearances in the same 18 seasons. Now, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin's been with the Steelers his whole career, and he's had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Mike McCarthy was with the Packers for a good amount of his career with a Hall of Fame quarterback. But he's also in the division how many years in a row with the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott. He made the playoffs, but Dak Prescott couldn't win those games, and we know it was Dak.
Do you think he suffered from a weak division?
Who's made the playoffs?
The AFC.
Who's made the playoffs in the last 6 years? The quarterback play between Dak, and I hate saying this, Dak's far better than anything that Pittsburgh has had at the quarterback position in the last 6 years, though. So Mike Tomlin has made the playoffs and lost a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy has made the playoffs and lost a lot recently, but I would say he's been in a better situation than Tomlin. Tomlin's created that situation. Ooh. He's been in the same spot. He hasn't left. He's where he's been at, right, for the later part of the career.
Is that not good for groceries? You don't think the culture
there was no
rebuild?
I don't think there was a rebuild for McCarthy. He walked into a Dallas team that's ready, just like a Green Bay team that was ready. The quarterback, you went from Aaron Rodgers. Yes, it's a step down, but Dak Prescott, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. You know what I mean? Since he's lost Roethlisberger, man, name him off. The fact that Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are the 2 best quarterbacks he's had since then is scary. You know, so. I don't know. I think
they went to the playoffs with Mason Rudolph.
Let's be fair. The Pittsburgh Steelers have and will always be an defensive team. Excuse me. They're not predicated on offense. Even when Ben Roethlisberger was there, he wasn't putting up Peyton Manning numbers, right? They're a defensive mindset team, and I would say him being with Pittsburgh for so long, that culture is inbred, and people come in and out, but that defense stays strong, and that's what really they win off of. Is that defense. So to me, I feel like being with the Steelers has been a positive for Mike Tomlin because that culture from ownership down is so much better than what you get in Dallas.
But I think it's because of Mike Tomlin, I guess is what I'm saying
He's a
here.
Could be,
culture
could
builder,
McCarthy,
be,
man.
could be.
Green Bay has had some success. I wouldn't say a Super Bowl yet, but they've had some success even with McCarthy leaving
I,
and Aaron Rodgers leaving.
I,
So
I like Mike Tomlin. I just wanted to point out I saw a lot of speak about, oh,
I,
he's
I would
trash and
agree.
he's Hall of Fame. But hey, folks, they've
I would agree
accomplished
with
things.
you.
So,
I would agree with you up until the what have they done for you lately? That's
well,
about it.
here's the question.
Guys,
I'll pose this to everyone, and we'll go to Brandon because he's the Cowboy hater the most. Who's the
come
next
on,
head
man.
coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Who should be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
It has to be an offensive mind for sure.
I
It
agree.
has to. You got to cater to your $60 million quarterback. That comes first. I think Ben Johnson would be phenomenal for him. But does Ben Johnson want the headache?
Hmm.
I don't think so.
Nope.
You look at a guy like
I know who does.
who's another one? Probably
Kellen
doesn't want
Moore.
that headache. Kellen
Kellen
Moore,
Moore
yeah.
Moore
played
might
for
be the
him.
only one that takes the
He
job.
played for him. He coached for him.
Yeah.
He's okay with the nice pay increase. He'll get it in there. He'll probably get a longer term contract, and more importantly, Jerry knows he can manipulate the man. He can tell him to do this, and it's a yes, sir, no
Absolutely.
problem. Gonna go do as you please. Who do you want to draft? Cool, I'll make it work. He'll hit the drawing books. I like Kellen Moore there. Strictly for I don't know,
Mike
standing
Zimmerman.
for everyone. Ooh,
What about Mike? I'm hearing talks that Mike Zimmerman may be hired. There's been talks about it.
Listen, I don't want Mike
On the
Zimmerman.
ticket.
I don't want Mike
I
Zimmerman
mean, that's a
here.
credible source now.
I don't want Prime. I don't want Coach Prime here. I don't want that sideshow that comes with him. We've already got a sideshow in Dallas. His name is Jerry Jones. Now, if Coach Prime
Y'all will
wanted
be
to
the
be
show.
if Coach Prime wanted to be Coach Sanders and wanted to come in and take the sunglasses off and take the swag off and be a real coach and actually get on the field with these boys and teach them how to play
there's no
ball.
off button. There's no off button.
But you're going to get Coach
draft.
Prime. And here's why I say this. This is not – I love Prime Time, the player. But if anybody ever watched the documentary like I did, you'd know that Prime Time was a character that he created, right? He created that to be in the public eye and to do all those things. Why is he that persona taking over as the coach? I don't know. It's a little much for me. I get that it works with the kids. I don't think that works in the NFL, number one. I don't think grown men across the board are going to follow that. But I also just don't need the Deion, Shador, Shiloh, Travis Hunter. Here we are as a family, and we've taken over Dallas. I just don't think it works at all. Plus, by the way, for all the people that think we're going to trade Dak, he has a no trade clause. We can't trade him. We couldn't get rid of him if we wanted to. So,
You know what,
I don't know
man?
who's going to be the coach, but I agree with Lauren. It's going to be Kellen Moore, and I think
Don't do it,
Kellen Moore
Prime.
because he's the only one that's going to say yes.
Don't do it, Prime. How
You
dare
need
you say, man?
You need a
Prime
Kellen
is
Moore to
in.
come in.
Coach Prime is in. You got to understand, you're dealing with 23 and 33-year-old young men and men. Them boys who are 23, 20, man, I mean, yeah, you can say they grown men, but they still learning, bro. Like, think about it when we were 24. And they got millions of dollars. Now you get a credible source like Deion, who is like one of the best athletes of all time, come in and try to get them right. You don't think they're going to follow that? Come on, bro.
Even if they don't follow it, even if they don't follow it,
but that doesn't matter. Listen,
even if they don't follow it, they will play for
you gotta be a
it. They will
culture
play
builder.
for him.
The Cowboys don't have a culture builder. That's the problem.
let me get this out. Number one, the culture is never going to change under Jerry Jones.
Man.
Under Jerry Jones,
Prime
no
can
matter who
influence
comes in
it.
here, it's not going to change because it's Jerry's culture. Number two, Deion, for the kids' sake in college, for the kids' sake that are coming to Colorado or Florida State or wherever Deion ends up over the next 5 to 10 years, that's where he belongs, man. He resonates with those kids. He can connect with those kids better than most coaches. And he means what he says from that standpoint. I've been around a lot of guys like Coach Prime here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area when it comes to minor league football. And Lauren, this will resonate with you. When I see Coach Prime, he reminds me of 90% of the arena or semi-pro coaches that we have here in the DFW area.
Damn.
But that's not a bad thing from a connection standpoint and life lessons and trying to get these kids on the right path.
Right.
Their grade average has gone up in Colorado. They're all, their average is like 3.0. Bro, he is doing amazing work there. That's why I say he needs to stay in college. Coming to the NFL, it's not going to do anything for him, and it's probably not going to end well because most coaches don't. There's only a few that actually last for a long time, and we talked about in the upper echelon. Let him stay where he is because the kids need him. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean the NFL is a younger man's game, though. Like
it
to
is,
Newey's
man.
point, to Newey's point. So
he can build a culture of young men, dog. They're gonna follow him.
I think Jerry's culture has never had rooted
culture, though, man.
Listen,
since '92.
I get it, but these dudes in the NFL have already made it. They don't need Deion. Those guys at 18, 17 going to college, they need Deion.
Do you see all the dumb shit that they do?
I was just about to say, there's a lot of young players that don't have that leadership.
Pulled over. They don't have a father. Like
I got
some
you.
of them
That's
don't.
just my thought. I just think the kids
and
need
now
him
they
more.
got money.
I think the kids need him more. That's all.
So my thing is like, especially the type of player that he was, he could really relate to these people with millions of dollars. Like, they're not going to respect the coaches on that aspect, sadly. They're not going to respect Kellen Moore on some other things, right? If he just makes it strict, they weren't good to Chip Kelly in Philly. I think you get a guy like that who can build a culture and can influence Jerry. I think it could work to some degree, but as a fan, I don't want to see it at all because I like Prime. And you have to put on that Prime stuff. I'm not putting on that stuff in Dallas, man. So keep it in Boulder, my brother.
If we're going to do that, let's just if that's what we're looking for, let's just hire Michael Irvin or Jason Witten as our next head coach.
I'm not opposed to Jason Witten.
I mean, I'd like culture Michael Irvin because he's going to bring the fire every single
culture builder. You need a culture builder, man. That's what made Tomlin so consistent all these years, regardless if he hasn't won anything in a while.
Yeah,
he's never had a losing season. Why? It's because of culture. He's playing in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL for years.
Right.
Years.
Well, we can guarantee this. The culture in New England's being built. The best coach is off the board. He's not in Dallas. We will be good over there on coaches. So he is gone. Yeah. He's off the board. So Dallas cannot go that route, right?
Well, from a Chicago standpoint, I sure hope Mike McCarthy ends up in Chicago. I think that's a great place for him if Ben Johnson doesn't want the job. But to be honest, I'd rather Mike McCarthy because of experience. Love what Ben Johnson is doing, but as an offensive coordinator, we really don't know what kind of head coach you're going to be. So I am all for Mike McCarthy coming to Chicago and saving that franchise from any more despair.
I think he definitely make them competitive off the jump.
Yeah, 100%. I think he'd be great for Caleb.
He's a coach that actually cares, man. I just don't know what happened in Dallas because you guys are very talented.
It's culture. It's the exact opposite of Pittsburgh.
And what do you need? And what do you need, Tim? Say it again.
What do we need?
Culture.
Yeah, culture. That's what I've been saying.
All right, and who is culture? Prime.
I don't think Jerry bends. I don't think Jerry would bend. I really don't. I think Prime would be miserable and leave in 2 to 3 years.
It's prime time in Dallas, baby.
Well, let's get on the wild card games, guys. We got to move this
run, man.
Chargers.
This is a boring week, except
we talked about this. Brandon hates Justin Herbert. Apparently,
I never said that.
I think Herbert's getting a bad playoff rap. Personally, I think he's this era's Tony Romo. I think he's playing really, really good and gets a lot of blame. I think he's a physical freak. He's got some abilities that a lot of guys don't have, a lot of good traits. The 4 interceptions, I'll give him 1. The other 3, questionable, whether they were his fault. 2 of them certainly weren't his fault. Defense didn't show up. CJ balled out. Texans played great. Got to give, I think, the coach a lot of credit there, D'Amico Ryans, for that. So hats off to the Texans. I picked the Chargers in that one. Hated to see it go out hated to see them go out with Harbaugh on them, but they'll be back. Lauren, what are your thoughts?
Man, I'll make it quick. I don't disagree with anything you said about Herbert. Lots of picks. I'm still. You run the ball for 50 yards as a team. Never got it going. Got behind quick because 2 unfortunate. The first 2 that mattered, they were pick sixes. One was, I believe, but Yeah, dude, you're down already. Now you turn to a passing heavy game. It got out of hand. I don't think CJ played great. I don't think he balled out, like you said, but I do think that he did what he was supposed to do, I guess. He still threw a pick. Um, the offense for the Texans had 2 fumbles that lost. Like it wasn't reassuring. I don't think the better team won. I think the
Oh,
best team on that
I
night
agree.
did.
I
Yeah.
agree with
So,
you on that.
but yeah, no, it's you can't get anything when J.K. Dobbins rushes for 26 yards. So,
Yeah, it's tough.
you need him to go for 60 or 7, and if Lad McConkey does go for almost 200 yards in a loss, that's something was off. Something was not right that night. So, draft a receiver.
Yeah, they need to rebuild that roster offensively for sure. Okay, Brandon, go ahead, man.
I'm so tired of y'all doing this to this man. Look, man, at the end of the day, you are paid to perform in these type of games. You are paid. That's what you're paid to do. You want to be a $200 million man, whatever the market is. Hey, if we're paying you that, you got to perform. Hey, last 2 playoff games, he's thrown for over 52% completion. He's got 2 TDs, 4 picks. Doesn't look good. Had a 28 comeback win, he failed to do so. Jaguars came back. Trevor Lawrence in 2022. He's got a new coach. He's got some juice. His touchdown to interception ratio was phenomenal, right? I'm not taking that away from him. But when it comes down to these kind of games and you have a beat up Houston Texans team, like, yeah, they won 10 games, but it didn't look good. It was pretty ugly all through the year, right? We can all agree. I just think you got to perform, man. And you got to put that team on your back. If you're getting paid as such, that's what you're paid to do. And he has failed to do that in 2 playoff appearances, unfortunately. Does he have the talent? Yes. We all know he got talent. We ain't going to question the talent. But where is just, when the game's on the line, man, when is that dog going to come out? That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. Because what I liked about Phillip Rivers, that old Charger quarterback, he was a dog. Like, he was going to give it all, his all, even if he threw 4 picks, damn, he throwing 5 touchdowns. He's figuring it out, right? I just think this guy kind of melts a little bit under pressure, especially in the playoffs, because we've seen it twice. Now, he's still young. I wouldn't say he's Tony Romo, because the way Tony Romo lost playoff games was dramatically worse. You had it right in the palm of your hand and you dropped the field goal.
Oh my God.
Hey, that wasn't worse.
Anyway,
That was bad.
Hey,
You shouldn't even have been on the field.
Justin Herbert cannot catch the
I
football.
like Herbert.
He can't catch the football for him. He cannot catch the ball for them.
I know.
There's
those
2
those
that
picks,
were.
I'm not taking that away from
I
you.
do
That's
agree
fine.
with Brandon in one thing he said. We have yet to see a real clutch gene out of Justin. Right?
Yeah,
I was gonna say I agree with you on that point.
I would love to see that, but we haven't seen it.
I would love to killer. See there's no killer instinct yet, but I hope that he gets that moment from this. You don't put the ball in other people's hands, right? He threw one a little bit high. You caught it. You touch it with 2 hands, but if you get it here, it's not a pick. At least it's just a drop. So maybe he gets into it and learns how to take games into his own hands. I don't think he's really had the opportunity in a playoff game or important games to have a clutch gene yet. But yeah, you create those moments for yourself, don't you? It's not a coincidence.
It's not even the picks I'm worried about. It's the completion percentage. It's the third down. It dramatically drops off. Like he doesn't sustain drives. Like if I'm paying you $55+ million, I expect for you to convert at least 60% of your third downs in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
We need to see a little bit more.
I need something.
We need to see more killer.
I need to see a killer come out.
He'll end up being just an average guy that had a bunch of physical tools that were never realized. I
just need to see a second option, a true second option before I jump into there. You know what I mean? He doesn't have much going for him. They're all drops, like Quinn drops. You know what I mean? They all had drops this year. I watched the Chargers play a little bit more than I probably wanted to or should have this year. Because every time I see Herbert, up until the senior day or bowl game they had, he was going to be a Patriot. You know what I mean? And then he played too well. So I do like Herbert. He thought he was going to fall in that draft. He didn't. I still think he's that. He is a specimen in one. So I think he'll grow to his own. He finally got a coach. That's why I do like Drake May. So, but I think he finally got a coach. Went through a year. Let's see what they look like next year. We know they'll be back, in my opinion. I think they're going back to a wild card game.
I'm not discounting Herbert. I'm just saying we need to apply the same amount of pressure that we do all these other quarterbacks. We do, because we really put this guy in a top 5 setting all the time. And he hasn't. Damn, man.
You want results now. You want results now. That's cool.
Yeah.
I get it.
We want results now, right?
We want results, but guess
He
what? We
ain't
gotta wait a
busting a grape in a
long.
fruit fight in the playoffs yet, man. He ain't done it.
Now
And it's like,
there's no excuses.
all right,
now he's got a
shit.
coach. Gets an off season. We can go from there.
That's what I'm saying.
You're right. I'll give you that. But he does need to rebuild the offensive roster. So he needs some receivers.
So let's roll into more of a dominant game than this one, because we feel like the winner of this game, they're obviously going home. They're going to Pat Mahomes Invitational.
Right.
So their season is going to end this week. We can all agree to that.
Doesn't matter. Correct.
How about these Ravens, fellas?
I was about to say,
How you
it's
like
no
that, Timbo?
game. I don't know about an
How you
interesting
like that,
game,
Timbo?
Doobie. I don't know about an
Dominant.
interesting game.
Dominant.
Speaking of another team that needs to rebuild their offensive roster.
That Sunday night game was fire.
Right.
That Sunday night game was fire. I love it.
You know me. I don't like the Ravens because I don't like the style of offense. And I'm not a defensive guy, and the Ravens are built off defense, and that's what they love. My thought on the game, Lamar looked great. He had a crazy play before the end of the half that I'm sure you're going to talk about at some point. Do you know that Russell Wilson actually, we talked about Russell not playing well. He actually had a better game in the air than Lamar did Sunday night. He was 20 for 29, 270 yards with 2 TDs, while Lamar was 16 for 21, 175.
Right there.
Here was the difference to me in the game was Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had 186 yards. He ran all over them, which the Steelers don't get ran on, which makes me really scared for Buffalo coming up this week. Guys, keep in mind, we talk a lot about Lamar and everything runs through Lamar. The Ravens have only won 2 games when Derrick Henry doesn't rush for 85 yards or more. So this game in Buffalo has to go through Derrick Henry, just like it did Sunday night against Pittsburgh. Great job. I thought Lamar played great, right, when he needed to. He had
MVP.
I thought he had like 8 carries in the first quarter, which was a little excessive. I thought, oh, here they go again. Let's run Lamar all the time. But then they jumped off of that. They started leaning on Henry.
What?
I'm scared for Buffalo because of Derrick Henry.
What is wrong with running the ball with Lamar every time? I'm sorry. If I am the Ravens, this is ingenious. You waited all year, ran your workhorse. Lamar told him to tone it down. You know he toned it down because he only had 4 rushing touchdowns, right? Josh Allen had 12. Let's look at that comparison over the last few years. But I think this is great. It's time. It's playoff. So you unleash the stable. Yeah, at this point, it's read option left, read option right, read option the middle, lead option right. It's Lamar and Derrick Henry.
He's proven that he can play quarterback the right way. He's proven he can play quarterback from the pocket. He's proven that he can throw.
Why is it needed?
Why does he need to put himself in harm's way?
If you can't stop the run, he didn't look like he was in any type of harm or danger.
He's one hit away. Well, listen, when he's running,
Lamar gives hits. He doesn't get them.
When he's running the football, same thing I think of Jaden Daniels. When he's run the ball, I think to myself, you are one hit away from handing the ball off to Derrick Henry.
Most quarterbacks get hurt inside the pocket. You know that, right?
I get it. It just makes me nervous. I'd rather just hand the ball to Derrick Henry.
Tim, if you had the ability to move the way Lamar moved,
you wouldn't be as nervous.
You'd be like, I'm out.
You wouldn't be as nervous, you know? Have you ever thought about, if I could dunk a basketball, what would you do? You know, if you could dunk,
think
what
about
would you do?
If you're 6'5", 6'6", you're going down the lane, bro. You are dunking every time.
Well, this is exactly what you said, Lauren. Why I don't want to see Ravens-Eagles, because it's going to be just read option the entire game on both sides. I'm going to fall asleep by the second quarter.
If the scheme worked and it got you here and it wins you playoffs, I hate to say it too, because
they win games, Tim.
Yeah, just put me to sleep.
It's tough. On the opposite end, there's decisions that, Russell, I've been a Russell advocate with a couple of my peers, and dude, the first half was play calling. What are we doing? Russell is a stand-up guy. He didn't change too much. I didn't see a lot of checkouts. The first half was played, Ravens versus Ravens, pretty much. There was no the Steelers were non-existent almost. But
Right.
if you look at the play calling, you're sending Pickens deep like every time and not taking a shot. You know what I mean? And Russell's smart to know, like, I'm not just gonna just throw it freaking up. You know, it's a touchdown to check down offense. You never really got the run game going. I get you tried, but what else were you doing? No screens. That was 100% on the offensive coordinator. Most of his stats were put up in the second half. And you saw a lot more 2 plays in the huddle, changing from change left to right, switching play calls, motion, more targets. The offense looked 1,000 times better, and Russell looked more in control in the second half. And I don't think that had to do with the OC gaining more control. I think it was more so, pull the reins back and really realize who you have at quarterback a little bit here. Like, give him some leeway. So I think they signed him. There's talks they're not signing either one. I don't know. I think they vet the entire league. I've heard some other talks around the Aaron Rodgers too. So we'll see what happens with them.
I was going to say, outside of Aaron Rodgers, who's out there that is available that's better than Russell Wilson? Like, why would you let him out?
Russell had a good year, man.
I wouldn't let him out of the
That went on Russ.
I wouldn't.
I mean, that cover 2 hole shot he had to Pickens, man, that was one of the best throws of the year. Great awareness by Pickens. Literally,
but he threw it early. He threw it early and on time.
Great.
Yeah, beautiful.
Great throw. He can still play in this league at a high level. Again, I just think they needed just a little bit more weapons as far as firming up the O-line. The O-line has been a problem for them for the past few years. Now, in the relationship between coordinator and Russ, really, it was a little bit rocky from what reports have come out. And so
it looks like.
Hopefully Russ, man, just gets a young coordinator could come in there, man, and help. Because I think Russ still has some years left, a good ball left in him.
I hate to say it. On the business side, of things, I hate to say it, but he's cheap too for what you get.
Yeah, he can't demand that much money at this point.
Yeah,
you're right.
Nope. So
Sean Payton screwed that up.
Speaking of Sean Payton,
asshole.
How about the Broncos and number 17 over there
going fishing?
That's right. Josh Allen made sure, although he didn't do much. He didn't do much in the game. He didn't have to. He relied on his running back, James Cook, to do a lot for him as well. Because we know run game and defense wins in the playoffs, right? Early on, I don't know about y'all, Bo Nix kind of scared me a little bit. He was playing really, really good football. He hit that deep shot, and I said, oh, boy, we got something here, right? And then the Bills shut that down. And, man, it was a learning experience for Bo, and that Broncos team is only going to get better, but the Bills dominated the game, in my opinion, and they didn't show a lot. They didn't do a lot. Josh didn't, try to be Superman because he didn't have to be. I like that. I like that they were just cerebral about it. They did enough to win the game because they knew they were going to have the Ravens coming into town, and now it's going to be a dogfight. So I enjoyed the game. I like that the Broncos are getting better.
How'd you feel about the 3 discs in his back being off since like week whatever? You think that's an excuse or think that's a real deal?
I mean,
disc
in your back can be painful.
Man, he was moving around. Disc. He had 3, I believe, discs that were off in his back. Yeah, and he'd been playing since I don't know. They said they built on it, but average like week 6 or 7, and that he'd been playing with them. So that's a trooper. He's a vet. I think he's going to be around for a while. Him and Sean Payton are going to stick together.
He's a good player.
I'll tell you what, I threw out 3 discs in my back a couple weeks ago. I couldn't get off the couch. So if he threw out 3 discs and was able to play football, that's incredible. I mean, there's no words for that. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, everything on can be up for speculation on how much it was it fixed, things like that. But when you align it with his stats, they were showing. I was talking, and it makes sense. His rush attempts kind of did go down. Started protecting himself a little bit more, and
4 carries. Still have 43 yards and 4 carries.
He was impressive.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah,
it's tough when you're going against 17 or 8 in that in the AFC.
Yeah,
17, 8.
Yes, you got to be special, man. And he's made a lot of highlight plays this year. I'm not going to take it away from him. He showed that he has the poise, the leadership, the arm strength, the ability to pull it down and run.
Another quarterback in the AFC that they're going to have to worry about. Another quarterback in the AFC.
You can handle Sean Payton. You can play. And,
he's only going to get better, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Andrew is in his corner. Shit.
Yeah. How about the worst game of the weekend? The game that I think was the worst game.
Oh, my Lord.
The Packers-Eagles. I hate both teams. Yep, I went upstairs and drove race cars for a while on my racing sim. Really hated this game. I thought both teams looked pretty trash outside of Saquon Barkley. Quarterback play wasn't good for either side. The Eagles are just a better team. The Packers are a dumpster fire. They lost to the Bears the week before, so we expected this. I'm not shocked that the Eagles lose this coming up weekend. I didn't see anything out of them that makes me go, yep, they're definitely a Super Bowl team, and they're the best team in the NFC. What did you guys say?
For me, I just feel like with them, it's about running the ball. Playoff football is about running the ball, and they do it as good as anyone, right? Baltimore, then, I mean, I feel like Detroit runs it very well. So, I mean, it's just really going to come down to who has good ball control, turnovers, keep it low. Stafford's going to give you a couple of opportunities. I know we're foregoing that, but back to this game, Jordan Love's got to step it up, man. I mean, the inconsistency, the guaranteed $200 million. I mean, once again, here we go.
Here we go.
Another one that I've been saying, and I've been getting crucified for saying, like, there is not a quarterback. If you're not in the top four, you should not be paid top tier dollar. You should not reset the market. Ain't no damn way you're better than those four guys.
Right.
Because you're not elevating your teams. Like, yes, you have flash, you have the talent. You may have, what do we call it? Potential. Potential's only so good. It only goes so far, right? These quarterbacks got potential, man. But when push comes to shove, man, playoff atmosphere is a different level. And Philly's got a great defense. Do they neutralize Stafford? Maybe. But I just wouldn't rule them out.
Jordan Love was paid off the game that he had in Dallas. Jordan Love got paid by the Dallas Cowboys. Let's be fair.
Oh my God.
So if that's the case, Aaron Jones got Jordan Love paid.
Yeah,
for that game in Dallas is all him. But I digress because I think Jordan Love is actually one of the ones that I think he has the experience from sitting behind, and I think he deserved his money. But while we're on the market, I think that the teams need to take they need to take a stronger hand, right? So just because it's the market, right? But is that the QB that your team is in the market for, right? Are you looking for a quarterback that is 55 mil, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're right, Newey. All these teams are paying this money because they firmly 1,000% believe that these quarterbacks are going to be not Patrick Mahomes, but they're going to take you where you need to go. You know what I mean?
All he has is get to the divisional, give me a playoff win. These quarterbacks have failed to do so. The only one that is still remaining that has this high contract and is the top paid is Jared Goff. But Jared Goff deserves every bit of that money.
Nobody can win by themselves.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, it's just, guys, you're already $100 million quarterbacks.
Teams need to say no. 49ers need to say no to Purdy. The Cowboys should have said no to Dak. And then when they go and try to find other teams, fine. But you know who's going to pay you 55 mil? The Tennessee Titans. That's who's going to pay you. The New Orleans Saints. They're going to be teams that aren't win ready because guess what? For their team, they need a staple. They need a $55 million quarterback. Sorry, the Dolphins, you don't need a $55 million quarterback. You could have gave him 37 and probably, to do the job that he's doing, 49ers, you don't need a $55 million quarterback. It sucks that the market dictates that now because it's only going to go up,
he's got the Niners by the gonads. Oh, my God. These two performances put proof in the pudding right there.
Well, I mean, y'all gave Ayuk money. You gave Ayuk money, so I can only say that y'all are going to give Purdy his check too. So
listen. We always fold. We always fold on holdouts, man. We folded on Trent Williams. Granted, he is one of the best tackles, but he came out of shape. Ayuk. We folded on Debo. We folded on Bosa. So it's just like, hey, we're gonna keep doing this. We just need a selfless guy at the helm, man. Take 45, 40. Reshuffle the O-line a little bit, put pieces around you, win the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about 50.
I think that's what happened. That's what happened with Tampa Bay. That's what they did with Baker.
Take the Baker deal. That was awesome deal.
Baker did it right.
But see, both teams win. They didn't win the playoff game. So now it justifies the fact that he wasn't paid big time money. But now he gets a chance to do it again because he's on a do it again contract. He's on a bring it back. He can
have pieces. He can have pieces with the flexibility in the cap.
Look, that
How about
game,
the rookie?
That Buccaneer Commander game Boy,
That was the best game of the week.
it told me a couple things. Number one, the Commanders are favored this year by the universe. They just are, right? You look at some of the ways they've won games this year and some of the stuff that's happened around them, and you're like, wow, team of destiny. I felt early on, and I don't really like to talk about the referees, but I thought early on it was really one-sided. It felt like every time the Buccaneers would get some yards, there was a flag. Every time they would stop the Commanders, there was a flag. And some of the replays, you're like, where's the flag, right? Some of that was, it went on for at least a quarter and a half.
Right.
So I felt like that was kind of odd. And then the fumble. Everybody's blaming Baker Mayfield for the fumble, but I'm going to say this. And we all played the position, so we can all speak to this. We weren't in the huddle, but it looked to me, like the rookie wide receiver came a little fast on the motion and ran past.
I thought so too.
Because when Baker turned, they were hip to hip. Baker was trying to give him the ball, but he had already passed Baker. So to me, it's a fumble. It goes to Baker. He took the blame because he's the veteran quarterback. I think the rookie wide receiver, the timing was messed up between
he didn't play bad
and the receiver, and he didn't really slow down. Baker didn't play bad, but I'll tell you,
he had 3 incompletions the whole night, guys.
That was the best Jaden's looked in a few weeks since the rib injury. Honestly, he's obviously healthy. He looked incredible. He did not look like a rookie out there. He looked like a veteran to me.
He is dialed.
And I'll tell you, the Commanders to me became the scariest team in the NFC and the biggest threat to the Detroit Lions because they've got some tag about them. They are hitting you in the mouth, and the way that they beat up Baker the other night, wow, it was impressive.
Back to the Baker, man. I need to know the play in the call. I need to know the call in the huddle. We need to know the play.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know, man. No, but we do know that Baker is flashy. And I think that he tried to sneak in a quick little ball fake where he thought the receiver may have been gone or he had more time. It looked like, as quarterbacks, you seek the ball, you keep it to your chest.
The receiver had his arms
did
up.
have his. So he either was giving him the ball and then we snapped it late. Baker didn't get around quick enough, or that's just the quick, because the receiver didn't seem like he had any slowdown. He kind of looked like that was shocking that even Baker put the ball out there. So I'm confused on what happened. I would like to know the play. Baker's doing the right thing. He's going to take responsibility regardless. Right. We've seen him flip the ball on his fakes, do his thing. So you never know. But I think the Bucs were very excited, man. All those penalties, a lot of those were excitement penalties. They couldn't, they kind of were like, we're here. And I think the moment might have got the better of them. Meanwhile, you got a leader in Dan Quinn over there, and I think they did what they're supposed to do on the defensive side, which allowed Jaden to play a little bit more loose.
Where was that
you got a rookie
last year, Lauren? Where was that Dan Quinn last year for the Cowboys?
Say it for me, Newey. Culture. Not with the Cowboys culture. You
can't influence Jerry Jones now. You can't.
He didn't have safeties at linebacker.
You go out there and you call your plays. You go call your plays, boy.
Mike is handy.
He lost that game on purpose. He tanked that game last year in Dallas.
He was like, "I'm out of here, man.
I'm out of here." Right. So, speaking of I'm out of here,
they got a culture.
Speaking of I'm out of here, did you see the y'all tuned into the Vikings Ram? You see Justin Jefferson give a little peace sign to the fans afterwards. What do y'all make of that?
I mean, didn't he just get paid? Where's he going to go? What's he going to do?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I think it might have been just a goodbye for this year. I'm not jumping on that train just yet. Darnold's out. Maybe he was saying bye to Darnold.
Here's the thing that we have to look at, really, when it comes to these receivers, and we glorify these receivers. But if you look back in history, it's not the receivers that the teams are built around that win Super Bowls. It's just not. You can have a good receiver on a Super Bowl team, but the top receiver isn't the guy that's going to get you to the big game, right? Randy Moss didn't win a Super Bowl for the Patriots, right? Great season. Didn't win a Super Bowl. So Justin, do what you want, man. You've got a great quarterback in J.J. McCarthy coming to save the day. And I think that team is going to be really good for a long time. I believe in Coach O'Connell. I think that program has a good culture. But what did we all say last week? We trust Matthew Stafford more. And they're on a little bit of a roll. And you
protect Matthew Stafford. He's as dangerous as they come. And to be honest, he's that fifth guy.
Now, was that a throw?
I was talking about that 4. He's the fifth guy.
Was that a throw?
Not too many people are better than him.
Brandon.
When you
By the
stand in there
rules,
and throw
by
the
the
ball,
rules,
what?
by
It
the
looked like
rules,
a
Stafford knew
throw,
exactly what it was. He
but
knew
was it a
exactly what it
throw?
was.
I don't know.
Hell no. He made it look like a throw, though. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
He got
And
spun
he got up
around and
and
he seen
pointed.
Puka and he was like, "Here you go."
He pointed right to Puka. Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Dude,
So,
Matt's a playmaker, man. He's just a playmaker, and he lives and dies by the sword, man. He always gives his last. He'll stand in that pocket and get killed to make that throw. That's what you love about him, man. That dude is all about grit, and don't be surprised if they don't kick down the doors on Philly.
They're my scary team. They're my scary team in the NFC. Because
Yeah,
if you go against the Lions, hey, you got the revenge battle there.
yeah. Stafford's trying to
there's
go
the
back to Detroit and spoil the party.
yeah. So
uh, let's
Mm.
talk about the Vikings
push.
for a second before we move on, because we've got to bring something to the forefront. I want to make this a thing, and I hope this catches on. For years, we had a thing called the Manning face in the NFL, right, where a quarterback just kind of looked dumb, right? It looked like he had no idea what was happening. Well, I've looked at Sam Darnold the last 2 weeks, and he's got Dak face. I mean, we've all seen the Dak face. Eyes are this big, looking around, drool coming out of your thing. Like, I have no idea what's everyone's moving around so fast. What's happening? That's Sam Darnold. Where does Sam Darnold and Dak face go after this, guys? Because if I'm Minnesota, I'm going to keep Daniel Jones as my number 2, and I'm going to let JJ start. And Sam Darnold, it was fun, but when we needed you most, you disappeared. Where are you guys at?
Darnold's taking the walk. He's taking the
where's he
He
walk.
going to
lost a
go?
lot of money that night, man. He lost $100 million that
Yeah, he
night.
lost a huge contract.
Dude, I feel
Thank you.
bad for the kid because even the touchdown throw he had, Hawkinson had to make a Hall of Fame catch just to get. When the lights are bright, fellas. I mean, either you're gonna flinch or you're gonna thrive, and we've seen a lot of these guys flinch. A lot of guys who had great regular seasons, and outside of Baker, Baker didn't play bad to me. So outside of Baker losing, I mean, these other guys, man.
Yeah.
It was a
Russell didn't
shootout.
play bad. Russell didn't play bad either.
It was a shootout, so I think both those quarterbacks, Baker, Jaden, played well. Love, man, they're beat up, and they might not even,
Love Herbert,
if they could have opted
Darnold.
out of the playoffs, the Packers might have been one of the few teams based off all their injuries to be like, yo, y'all can take our place and give us a
we're
fourth round
done.
pick.
Listen, man, you
Yeah.
won 14 games this season.
Yeah,
And
no excuses.
all 4 of your losses came to the 2 teams twice. The same teams twice. Damn.
So whatever it is Sam Darnold's looking at, it's
that's gotta hurt, man.
Whatever
I know
Darnold's
Exo
looking at,
is
that's what he's looking at right there. So I don't know. He's gone, man.
Pissed,
He's a backup somewhere. Maybe in Miami. Try that one. Get the ball out quick. Won't get sacked. Go be a backup. They need a good backup,
man.
serviceable backup. But yeah, he cost himself probably about 120.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. I definitely feel that. But man, let's kind of. I know we've been talking about these quarterbacks. I know some are good, some are bad. Obviously, we know who's on fire. We know who's garbage juice at this time. Let's roll into these playoff memories because, Tim, you really put something together here. And we're going to go around the table because I had to reflect back on when I first started watching ball and what intrigued me. Talk about the most memorable playoff matchups from past in the divisional round. What's yours? I got mine. You ready for mine?
You want
Packers and Falcons. 98. Brett Favre versus Michael Vick, and he rolls into Lambeau. That's when the whole Michael Vick experience became the Michael Vick experience. That was the first time that Brett Favre lost in Lambeau in the playoffs.
Yep. I think that's the first time the
I
Packers
watched that game. I remember that game.
Lambeau.
And it was snowing. It was a real cold game. I remember he throwing a defensive lineman off, grabs his face mask, readjusts. Oh, man. John Madden and Pat Shermerall were calling the game. You can go back and watch it on YouTube. It was absolutely phenomenal. It made me fall in love with football even more because it was a snow game. It was 2 of my favorite quarterbacks. They were going at it. Man, I got a couple more, but I'm going to let y'all spill at it. Go ahead.
Man, I was going to go with the Dallas-Green Bay 2014 game, but we talk about that a lot, and I don't want to beat that dead horse. That was a really bad memory.
I'm sorry,
I'm going to give you my favorite memory of all time. It was 1985. I'm in Chicago because I grew up in Chicago, obviously. I'm at the Bears versus the Giants. Now, this is the year the Bears win the Super Bowl. They gave up 0 points in the playoffs that year, only 10 points in the Super Bowl. But they beat the Giants in one of the coldest, windiest days I've ever been at. Phil Simms could barely complete passes. The best play was when the punter, back at his own 1 yard line, he goes to punt the ball. He misses the ball because the wind moves the ball. You can watch this on YouTube. He goes to punt the ball and he misses it, and the ball just hits the ground. Todd Bell, number 25, picks up the ball for the Bears, runs it in for a touchdown. We win the game 21-0. Obviously, we had that one touchdown. Walter Payton on the team. Jim McMahon was our quarterback. Dennis McKinnon, Willie Galt were our receivers. We had that defense in '85 that neither one of you saw, but you've probably heard about in the past.
Born in '87, baby. Didn't see none.
That was my favorite playoff moment because I was there. And the only thing that could rival that would probably be being at the game when Romo beat the Lions. But that was a wild card game, so I couldn't talk about that one. So, Lauren, favorite divisional game, man. What you got?
Man, so I thought it was divisional, and I was like, let me look further, right? So I'm still going to say the game because it was what we just talked about. It was a wild card game, okay?
That's fine.
I was growing up. I've got to, right? So 1999, I watched on a little TV in the room, and I wasn't a fan. I was already a fan of a couple quarterbacks. I hadn't become a Patriot fan yet. I was still just watching football, right? I was 10 years old, right? I didn't play it as Pop Warner. I didn't play till middle school. So, man, the Packers played. I think Mariucci was the coach. And Holmgren was for the Packers. Okay,
yes, Steve Young.
Steve Young.
Yes!
They call it. It's like a catch-2, but T.O. became one of my favorite receivers.
T.O. was crazy.
Favre shootout, 30-27. 49ers ended up winning. For a brief moment, I was a 49ers fan. I had a gold hat. It was great. But Favre I still liked. But that game, I watched it, and the reason why it's my favorite is this at the time was probably my first football game that I watched in entirety. Like, I watched it all. And to have it in like that, and T.O.
Awesome.
after that became obviously T.O.
He dropped 7 passes that game.
Yes,
it
was just a full football game of grit, war. It was playoffs at the time. Wild card. Know what type of matchups you were getting. So yeah, I mean, I hate to break the rules, but I was shocked. I was like, man, it was a wild card game, but man, it was a good playoff game. So.
Lauren, I love that memory. I love that because I resonate with your memory. Like I have a similar memory to yours, watching a little TV in the bedroom, becoming a fan of a team. And we're going to talk about it next week when we talk about favorite championship games that you've seen throughout the year. So we'll get into that next week. Let's talk about these divisional matchups now that are coming. Saturday, we've got a good slate. Texans are going to visit the Chiefs. I think we know what's going to happen there. Patty Mahomes and company are going to probably go crazy on the Texans. And then we've got a very interesting one that night that everybody in the country is going to be tuned in for because I feel like everyone's rooting for Detroit unless you live in Washington. The Detroit Lions take on the Commanders. I'm a little scared for Detroit, y'all. I really am. What do you, I'm not scared for the Chiefs, but I'm a little scared for Detroit. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna
slide in. It's gonna be a battle. They better not flinch.
Yeah, mine's short and quick. Newey, I'll let you go. I mean, it's gonna be a battle. I'm more excited for both teams. And you got things twisted if you think Detroit's at all scared. If Mr. Campbell doesn't have those guys ready to play, oh man, it's gonna be. I mean, Campbell and Quinn. Yeah, I'm tuning in. Yeah.
Well, we know one thing: the punters should just stay home because 4th down means nothing to both of these coaches. There will be no punting.
Go for it.
Okay, who's going to win? Let's go around the horn. Brandon, we know the Chiefs are going to win. We don't have to talk about that. Where are you at? Detroit, Washington. Lauren says Detroit.
I got Detroit, man.
Okay.
I think Detroit, man, they're going to play out the home crowd. It's a rookie. They're going to find ways to rattle him. If he pulls this off, damn, he's special. Even more special. It'd be insane, but I'm going to go with the home team here.
There's 5 or 6 Detroit Lions starters on defense still not playing in this one, but that defense really showed up last week. But we know that Sam Bradford or Sam Darnold maybe had Dak face, and maybe it's Dak underneath the mask. We don't know. Washington could be a force, but I got to stay with y'all. Detroit's going to win this one. Sunday, another really fun day in the evening. Not too excited about this afternoon game. I am looking into an upset here, but Vikings at Rams. I got the Vikings going, or I'm sorry, Vikings at Rams. Eagles and the Rams play the Rams play the Eagles at 3:00 in Philly. I've got the Rams going in there and upsetting the Eagles. Brandon, what say you?
Woo! They're going against a tough D line, Tim, and if they get to Stafford, it's a nightmare. I got the Eagles by 10. That D line is the D line, man. That's all. They got one of the best defenses in the league. You find a way to get to Stafford, it's gonna pay off. I mean, I'm confident in that Eagles defense there.
That's fair. Lauren.
I mean, hold on. Who do you got, Tim?
I already said I'm taking the Rams. Now, 50% of that.
Okay.
50% of that pick is based on hate for the Eagles. I'll be honest.
Okay.
But I also believe in Matthew Stafford.
Okay, I was confusing the hate for an actual pick. Apologies. It's lesser of two. I figured. But yeah, I'm riding with Stafford. I'm riding with Stafford because I think this is his journeyman year. He's doing it, reminding everybody real quick how far he can take this team. He's got, vets around. This is what's left of that Super Bowl team.
Right.
And I think that they're good where they're at. They've shown what they can do, and I think they keep pushing. Let's put it that way.
Man, he's got the gray hair out there in his beard, right?
Oh, man. Class of 06, still doing it.
But he's got a smile on his face, man.
Yes.
He's a beast, man. Stafford's a beast.
I'm all in for Rams-Lions NFC title game.
I don't believe in this Philly defense.
Woo! You know what?
I just don't
I
want
believe in
them
Matthew
to win.
Stafford. I believe in Matthew Stafford and his weapons. The cold's not going to bother him. He's going to go out there and ball.
Is it? They're dome players, Tim. Hold on now. See. Not everybody's used to that cold.
Stafford played in the NFC North. Don't forget, he played in Lambeau.
I get it.
Chicago.
I get it. But these teams that play in domes, they struggle when they go in cold weather, Tim. Those West Coast teams, you got to think about the travel.
Also, these Big Ben, McDaniel, all these types of offenses also struggle in cold weather. These Kingsbury crews, or if
I was putting money down, I'd probably put it on the Eagles.
They're technically playing a noon game on Sunday.
What time do they play?
Noon game.
What time?
That's early. Are
you sure about that?
They gotta wake up soon. Yeah, it's 3:00, but it's 3 hours. It's East Coast.
Okay, Tim. Yeah. You're right. It's 3:00.
Times change. It's a lot, man. They're dealing with a lot of personal stuff.
Here's the best game of the weekend. The best game of the weekend, maybe the best game of the year. Ooh. This might be better than the Super Bowl. This might be better than any of the championship games. The Ravens visit the Bills, and it's all on the line, right? Legacy, MVP.
What a better way to end season 2, Tim. Our two favorite players meet up to get to go to the Mahomes Invitational.
The Mahomes Invitational. Here's the thing. Does this game take so much out of you that you don't have a lot left next week for the Chiefs?
Possibly. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Because this is the game.
Maybe.
This is the
level. The
level
at these two
game, man.
The level that these two guys are playing at, I can't see either one backing down. 15 seconds is still enough time. All the way until the end. So it's gonna come down. I hope it comes down to a last possession type deal. But at the same time,
baby? Who wants
someone's gonna get screwed. Someone's gotta lose.
Somebody's has got to go.
I can't even pick this game. I want the Bills to win, and I think the only way that they do win is if they bring in that same mentality offensively they did a week ago, which is possess the ball, chew the clock. I mean, you watched the game. The first half last week took 45 minutes. I mean, that's what they have to keep the ball away from Lamar and Derrick Henry. Period.
Spread is -1 Baltimore.
We're going to be in a shootout, right? So let's not do that. Let's slow it down. Let's control the pace of the game, and let's make the Ravens feel like they have to be perfect. That's what the Bills need to do to win the game.
I'm vice versa. I think the Bills need to play loose and free. I got the Ravens winning, but it's because They run the ball and they actually
They
score
keep 17
touchdowns.
off the field, man.
They score touchdowns, not threes, right? Josh Allen
Yeah.
scores points, but it's usually he does have some drives in and 3 points. So I think the difference is the Ravens score sevens. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it becomes a little bit out of hand, and I got the Ravens winning 34-24.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a great game, man. I mean, both quarterbacks are well deserving leading their teams. Both running backs have 16 touchdowns apiece. I mean, they're not lacking for weapons. I mean, both receivers are over 1,000 yards, and it comes down to these two bulls. It's who gets the ball last, but I'm going to go with Ravens, man. I need Lamar to go get one. Josh Allen's time's coming.
This is why I'm not watching the game at your house. I'm going to watch
He's
it
there
here.
already,
I'm going
man.
to turn my phone off.
To be honest, man, either one win, hey, I'd be happy for either one.
There you
Because
go.
I know this is the matchup we all want to see.
This
is Magic Bird right now. This is a rival.
Who needs it more? Who needs it more?
I feel like Lamar needs it more.
Yes.
He's got 2
If he
MVPs,
loses, there is no excuse.
Possible 3 MVP. Yeah, there's no
You
excuse.
can't lose with
There's
Derrick
no
Henry on your
excuse.
team. You can't. You just can't.
More pressure's on Lamar than it is Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Only because of the roster, I think. Yes.
Yes. The Bills got worse.
Yeah, the Bills, exactly. Somehow the Bills have a worse roster. They got worse on the roster, and they have the home field advantage going into the game.
Y'all lost one player,
Allen.
and they say they got the worst roster when in reality,
they lost some defensive players too.
Josh Allen,
they did.
Since Josh Allen has been around, they have always had a top 5 defense, bro. Go look it up.
And he lost a lot of those guys last year. He lost a lot of those guys.
And they're still a top 5 defense. They're still a top 5 defense.
Culture.
That's culture.
That's culture.
All right, guys.
That's culture, Tim.
Let's run. This is going to be fun. We have never done this on this show, so we're going to try bold predictions, man. They do this on the NFL Network every Sunday morning. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to go around the horn with each of the games because there's an odd number of games. We'll all make a bold prediction for the Bills Ravens. So that should be a good time. And then we'll go back and see how close we were. So Brandon, you start us off with the Eagles taking on the Rams. What is your bold prediction for this game?
Ooh. Jalen Hurts throws for 3 TDs and shuts the haters up.
That is a bold prediction. Holy moly. The fact that he will
3
throw
TDs,
3
I didn't say how
into
he's
the
going
end
to get
zone.
it. Maybe a screen, maybe some few other things. But the offensive game is going to get going. Jalen Hurts has a big passing game this week.
All right. Lauren, you pulled the Texans and the Chiefs. What's your bold prediction?
All right, here we go. CJ Stroud actually plays well, gets into a shootout, and gets Mahomed like every other AFC quarterback that he's gone through.
I love that.
And Tom Brady did it to him, and ever since then, Patrick Mahomes has just handed him out left and right. You don't get the ball back. And I had to learn my lesson. You will too, CJ Stroud. Chiefs win.
All right. And I've got Washington versus the Lions. These two teams will combine for 1,500 yards of total offense, but the winning team will have a defensive scoop and score or pick 6 to end the game late in the fourth quarter. The defense is going to win the game for one of these teams with an incredible offensive night throughout the evening. Let's get into this Bills-Ravens one. I've got a fun one, but we're going to start with you. Lauren, what's your Bills-Ravens bold prediction?
Let's see. Bold prediction on the Ravens and Bills. Josh Allen rushes for 100 and throws for 250 or more.
No.
They don't win the game, but he does not turn the ball over.
Okay. They don't win the game, but I'm going to save yours for last, Brandon, because I have a feeling yours is going to be astronomical. So we're going to
Not really.
Yours might be the best one. So I'm going to go before you.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to say Lamar and Josh will combine for 1,000 yards of offense by themselves. Just the two of them, between passing and running. They will combine for 1,000 yards, just the two of them.
That you say that and I have to do math to see that it's still to see that it's actually feasible is pretty. Yeah.
It is feasible, actually. It is feasible.
Exactly. 130, 140, 350, 360. Oh, next thing you know, you're at
It's a lot of offense, but it's doable. What you got? Dude, I would love to see it.
Now, we've seen some phenomenal battles between some of these good quarterbacks. This is another good one. I'm predicting between the both of them, they will have at least combined 8+ touchdowns this game.
Well, that would fall in line with
8.
1,000 yards of offense. So
we don't know how they're going to do it. Well,
At this point,
8
one of them
touchdowns.
might catch one. One of them might catch
I'm
a
just saying,
touchdown.
8 total touchdowns. 8 total touchdowns between both of them. They may get it ugly, but they're going to get it.
You say that, man. I saw Aaron Rodgers go out for a pass in Week 18. As fast as Lamar is, why can't he go for a downfield pass and Derrick Henry throw a cross-field touchdown to him? Or
they may not have a person that
as
can
big
really
as
throw the
Josh
ball.
Allen is, just go out there, get in the Wildcat, and Josh run a fade. Right? Just run a fade.
Put Josh Johnson as tight end.
With all the types of QBs that we know Tim likes, how he would have a heart attack if Lamar ran a nice little sluggo route.
I would. My heart would stop. I'd be like, don't throw it to him.
What he would look? What is this? What is this? What am I watching?
Hey,
oh my gosh! Do a 7-step drop. Play action, turn your back to the defense.
I would love that. All right, man. This is going to be a great weekend. I have a feeling our text group is going to be crazy during that Buffalo Lamar game or that Buffalo versus Ravens game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
That's going to do it for this week's QB Huddle podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and always comment. Get involved. Thank you to our producers, New Era Media and Mark Watson, and for my podcast partners, Brandon Newey and Lauren Morales. I'm Tim Smith. Enjoy the divisional weekend. Until next time,
Yes, sir.
Keep those chains moving, folks.
Peace.